Welcome to Torrent Power Limited Q1 FY22 earnings conference call hosted by IIFL Securities. As a reminder, all participant lines will be in the listen-only mode. There will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal for an operator by pressing star then 0 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Harshvardhan Dole from IIFL Securities. Thank you, and over to you.
Thank you, Zaid. Greetings, everyone. On behalf of IIFL Securities, I welcome you all to the Q1 FY22 earnings call of Torrent Power. To discuss the numbers in detail, as well as share some performance outlook going ahead, we have the senior management team of Torrent Power today. The team will be represented by Mr. Saurabh Mashruwala, VP Finance, Mr. Rishi Shah, GM Finance, and Mr. Jay Prakash Khandwani, AGM Finance. I'd request Saurabh Bhai to make an opening remark, subsequent to which we can have the floor open for Q&A. Over to you, Saurabh Bhai.
Yeah, thank you, Harsh. Yeah, good morning to all of you, and thank you for joining the earnings call to the Torrent Power for Q1 FY22. First, I will take you to the performance of the quarter, after which phone lines will be open for Q&A session. I will explain the performance of the company at PBT level, and thereafter tax expenses will be taken up. The reported PBT for the quarter stood at about 273 crores as compared to 468 crores in corresponding quarter last year. This is a reduction of 195 crores, which is about 42% on a reported basis. To understand the underlying performance of the company, we will take you to the non-recurring item during the quarter. There are non-recurring items during both the quarters, this quarter also and the comparable quarter of last year also. So we'll first talk about the non-recurring item of the current quarter. Non-recurring item of the current quarter, which includes about 21 crores of bad debt provision which we have made in franchise distribution businesses. The economic activity at our distribution franchise business continued to recover from the pandemic effect during Q1 FY22. However, there was same was moderated with the second COVID wave. As compared to the pre-COVID level, that is we are talking about Q1 of FY 19-20, comparable demand is down by 13% as compared versus peak growth of 37% witnessed in the comparable quarter of the last year. So still our demand in the franchise distribution is lower by 13% as compared with the pre-COVID level for the Q1. Disruption caused by the second wave lead to the deferment of recovery of areas of FY 21. And accordingly, provision of 21 crores was warranted to be made during the course of the quarter. We expect that going forward next 2-3 quarters, we would be able to recover the material amount out of this provision which were made in case of Bhiwandi and Agra particularly. Now coming to the non-recurring item of comparable quarter of Q1 FY21, there are two items. As you recollect, our license distribution business had received a favorable orders from the regulators with respect to past regulatory claims of 344 crores. So this is a pre-tax amount of 344 crores. So one-off income of 344 crores we have booked in the comparable quarter of last year, which was not there in the current quarter. Additionally, the loss of 61 crores was also accrued on account of waiver of fixed costs allowed by the government of Gujarat to industrial consumer for the month of April 2020. This is because of the lockdown, government of Gujarat has given the concession to industry, and we have accounted 61 crores loss in the Q1 of last year. So both put together, the net credit which we have booked in last quarter is 280 crores. Adjusted for the above one-off item in both the quarters, Q1 of current year as well as previous year, adjusted PBT for the quarter stood at 294 crores compared to 185 crores in the comparable quarter of last year. This is an increase of about 109 crores on a normalized basis, which is about increase of 59%. So profit on a normalized basis has significantly improved by 59% for the comparable quarter of the last year. So we now take you to the key highlights on the improvement in the adjusted PBT of 109 crores for the current quarter. So substantial gain is coming from our franchise distribution business. So there was a substantial reduction in P&L losses, mainly in the distribution franchise business, due to restoration of industrial demand, which was significantly impacted last year. So the impact, positive impact, I would say, on the profit is 138 crores due to reduction on distribution losses in the franchise business area of Agra, Bhiwandi and SMK. So additionally, there was a gross reduction in finance cost by 58 crores. The finance cost was also lower by 58 crores. This is attributable to the lower rate of interest as well as reduction in overall debt level. The average interest rate for the quarter was 130 basis points lower than the comparable quarter of the last year. Additionally, we have our debt level, average debt level was also lower by about 1,100 crores as compared with the June 30, 2020 versus June 30, 2021. And during the last quarter, we have not made any additional borrowing, because internal accrual was pretty strong. So we have not resorted to any increased borrowing in the last quarter. For borrowing level, if you look at the borrowing level of as on 30th June 2020 was 8,834 crores versus current borrowing level of 7,736 crores, which is a reduction of about 1,100 crores. And these are the two positives for the quarters, where our franchise distribution has performed exceedingly well, and we are able to reduce the interest cost. At the same time, there are some negatives also. For example, first negative, we are not able to sell adequate quantity in the merchant market due to the demand was a bit low and at a lower level. So there was a reduction in the merchant sale, and the impact is about 35 crores. Then we have PPA with the PTC of about 75 megawatt for our Fusion power project, where as per the contract, they have a right to reduce the PPA by 25 megawatts. So impact is about 4 crores in terms of fixed cost. The next item is there is a lower contribution from the renewable business by 11 crores due to lower PLF in the month of March, which we have booked. However, during the course of the quarter, Q1, comparable PLF is 2% higher as compared with the FY21 numbers. Additionally, there are about 13 crores additional depreciation we have charged to the P&L due to the increased higher level of capex during the past period. And about 13 crores increase in O&M expenses we have accounted. This is mainly because of increased level of operating activities. So demand in both the license as well as franchise distribution area have improved by about 38% as compared with the comparable quarter of last year, but they are yet to reach the pre-COVID level of FY 19-20. This demand is still lower in Q1, mainly because of the second wave of COVID. And we expect that the year-end demand will be likely to be pre-COVID level of FY 19-20. Moving on to the PAT numbers, considered PAT reported for the quarter was 209 crores as compared with 368 crores. This 368 crores includes the one-off item of about the P-tax level of about 283 crores. So profit was lower by about 159 crores, which is about roughly 43%. This is the overview. This completes the overview of the quarterly performance of the company. Now we will give the update about the projects in pipeline, renewable projects in the pipeline. So on 30th July, the company entered the security purchase agreement with the Lightsource Group to acquire 50 megawatt of solar project located in Maharashtra, Solapur area. And the important details, key details, I can have you provide the key details of the acquisition. The enterprise value of the project is about 317 crores, which is subject to closing price adjustment. Enterprise value comprises of 196 crores of debt and about 121 crores of equity contribution. Equity includes the cash and cash equivalent of 22 crores. The net equity investment will be about 99 crores. The initial project cost of this project was about 6.25 crores per megawatt on an AC capacity basis. The project PPA is with the SECI and for about 25 years. The balance life is about 22 years. The tariff contract is 4.43 paisa per unit. And the average PLF of last 3 years, if you look at the average PLF, is about 21.6% on an AC capacity basis. And we expect that going forward, when we take it over, we expect some saving in O&M costs so that it will improve the IRR. And transaction is, we expect the transaction will be completed in next 60 days time. So we provide the update about the other 3 projects which are on the pipeline, in the pipeline. The first is the SECI 5 project, which was we have got the SECI 5 project we want in the SECI 5 bidding. SECI in March 21 has given extension for this project, extension of COD for this project up to February FY 2022. Project size is 115 megawatt. The earlier COD was July 2020. So taking into consideration extension given by the SECI, we are working on the avenues to revive the project. So this project were abandoned in FY 1920, which because of the extension given by the SECI, we are trying to revive the project. As you know, we have signed 2 PPAs of on a solar front, 100 megawatt with GUVNL and 300 megawatt with our own distribution arm, TPLD. And the land acquisition for both the projects are in progress, and we expect the order to be placed in for the modules in a couple of months. And as far as 80 project is concerned, it is though we are L1 in the 80 project, but currently the project is subsidized. With respect to our takeover of the license distribution business of Union Territory Dadra, Nagar Haveli and Daman and Diu, wherein we have emerged as a successful bidder of 51% stake. We would like to update the Supreme Court has vacated the stay imposed by the Bombay High Court on the tender process, and the matter will now be heard by the Supreme Court very shortly. This will complete the update about the upcoming projects which are on the pipeline. Now I request coordinator to start the Q&A session. Thank you so much. Handing over to the operator.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handset while asking questions. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. To ask a question, please press star and 1 at this time. The first question is from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
Yes. Good morning, sir, and thanks for the opportunity. So my first question, is it possible to give us the breakup of EBIT or EBITDA segment-wise?
Okay.
Especially QOQ.
So I will give the breakup of EBIT on a comparable basis, Q1 FY 21-22 versus Q1 FY 22-21, 22 as well as 21. The gas-based generation has reported EBIT of 17 crores compared to 92 crores last year. And renewable project current quarter number is 106 crores versus 116 crores last year. License distribution business about 209 crores for the current quarter compared to 188 crores for the comparable quarter of last year. Franchise business has significantly improved as we discussed because of the lower T&D loss that we have reported. So numbers for the quarter is about 141 crores versus 16 crores last year. And on overall basis, before one-off, it is 447 crores versus 391 crores. So incremental EBIT of 56 crores for the current quarter.
So my question was primarily because we were trying to understand why there is a decline in QOQ in EBITDA, given the fact that there is no sharp decline in the businesses in the especially QOQ.
See, that we have explained, because last Q1 we have recognized about 283 crores of one-off items.
No, sir, because of Q4. Q4 versus Q1.
Q4 versus Q1. The Q4, sir. Yes. So Q4 and Q1 is not comparable because in our business there are various seasonal variations are there. Also, volumes are lower in Q4 and higher in Q1 because of seasonal variation. And there are impact of T&D losses are also different. So in our kind of a business, exact comparison of preceding quarter with the current quarter is not possible. So that is why we always make a comparison with the comparable quarter of the last year.
Understood, sir. So secondly, on this, you just mentioned that you're trying to revive SECI projects. So are we reviving the entire basket of projects which we had bid? I think SECI 4 and 5, which I believe was a substantial number. Or are we reviving only part of the capacity?
This is the one project, two projects in fact we have abandoned, about 499 megawatt of Gujarat project that we are not reviving. But this 115 megawatt project we are reviving at this moment.
Is there any reason for not reviving the other one? Specific reason? Is it particularly bad IRR? Is that
No extension, and there are land issues also there in this 499 megawatt project. So this project, all issues we are able to sort it out, and we got the extension also from the SECI. So this project we are reviving.
Okay, understood, sir. And lastly, sir, on the Dadra Nagar Haveli, what is the step? What are the steps which are pending? Post that will be able to take over the asset.
The Supreme Court has to hear the case. At the same time, government is also trying to work on the issue of the LOA. So once the LOA is available, then handover process will start.
Okay, understood, sir. Thank you, sir. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to ensure that the management is able to address queries from all the participants, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. Time permitting, you may return to the queue for your follow-up question. Our next question is from the line of Ankit Patel from L&T Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes,
Mr. Patel, please go ahead with
Yeah.
your question.
Yeah, my question is regarding the solar PPA at 1.99 rupees and 2.22 rupees. Could you tell us what kind of returns you expect from these projects? Because these tariffs seem to be going down continuously, and this would be one of the lowest tariffs. What kind of returns do you expect from these projects?
Earlier call we said that the load in IRR we are getting from this project. So we are continuously watching about the model prices, which is a bit higher currently. So we have some time available and we have some contingency available. So that we expect that the model price will revert back to the normal level. So we are expecting load in IRR from these 2 projects.
Okay.
Does that answer your query?
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Shubhadeep Mitra from JM Financial. Please go ahead.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity. A couple of data-related queries. I think these are points we've already touched upon, but I think I missed the numbers. So you mentioned that the adjusted PAT for the current quarter is 294 crore versus 185 crore last year. Is that at PBT level or PAT level?
So PBT number, we talked about the PBT numbers. Adjusted PBT number of current quarter is 294 crores versus 185 crores of the last year, which is about increase of 109 crores, roughly 59%.
Secondly, I think you also mentioned the generation EBIT. If you can just repeat those numbers, I missed that.
Generation, gas-based generation is about 17 crores for the current quarter And the comparable quarter of last year, 92 crores.
So here the fall is largely due to?
Sorry?
So the reduction that you're seeing in this year on the generation EBIT of 17 crores to 92. What would be the key reasons here?
See, the merchant sale was impacted because of the lower price during the course of the quarter. So merchant sale were lower and we lost about 35 crores contribution compared to the previous quarter, comparable quarter of last year. So merchant sale impact was about 35 crores, essential impact I would say. And there was a PPA which I explained, the PPA with the PTC was about 75 megawatt. There was a condition in the contract that they have a right to reduce up to 50 megawatts. So about fixed cost, a lower fixed cost is 4 crores per quarter for this quarter. Plus there are increased level of activity has increased the expenses in the Sugen as well as Uno Sugen plant also.
So which is with regard to the O&M related expense,
O&M
13 crore I think you mentioned, 13 crore. Right?
O&M related cost, yes.
Okay, understood. Secondly, with regard to the solar projects that you mentioned about, the expectation of low teens IRR. So in both these projects, the 100 megawatt GUVNL and the 300 megawatt one, the panel orders, the solar module orders, etc., have yet not been placed, correct?
It is not yet placed.
And what would be the deadline for the COD of these projects and, let's say the deadline by which you need to order the modules?
So, Subhadeep, the deadline as per current COD is July 22. We are closely watching the module prices in the market. I think by latest, I think we'll see when we should be ordering the modules. But we are also expecting there could be an extension because of second COVID wave given to us by GUVNL. In which case we'll have additional time for ordering the modules. So we are expecting that both these factors combining, which there should be a time available for us to book the modules and salvage this project.
Understood. So typically you need to order the modules at least 6 months before the scheduled COD.
4 to 6 months is a time where you should order the modules. Typically, that can be squeezed also depending on what is the state of readiness with respect to other things.
Understood. Okay. Last question on my part would be regarding this 115 megawatt SECI 5 bid. So here, what you're mentioning is that the land and transmission and other related activities are already in place, which is the reason why you're looking at salvaging the.
Yes, COD is extended, plus necessary permissions are in place, and land is also identified. So, and we have
land been acquired and
also.
Has the land been acquired and handed over? That could still take some time.
It's identified and in the process of we are in the process of acquiring the land.
Okay, okay, that's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Apurva Bahadur from Investec. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Sir, wanted to understand basically on this light source deal. We read somewhere that it has some VGF benefits as well. So could you please quantify that number?
Which one? Which benefit? AGF about 8. Yeah, VGF is about 8-9 crores.
89 crores.
No.
8 to 9 crores.
8 to 9 crores, and that we can earn. By when do we expect to earn that?
So as per the terms of the SPA, as and when we receive that, we will have to pass it on to the seller.
Okay, so we won't retain it. Okay, got it.
Yeah, we are not going to retain it.
Okay. So secondly, on basically this Amgen expiry coming up, so do we expect an extension over there, given that the government is focused on improving islanding of large cities?
So we are not sure right now, but we are in discussion with the government. So we hope extension will be granted. It's basically it's islanding for the Ahmedabad area, distribution area. So we are in continuous touch with the government. So we have to see whether we are hoping that the extension will be granted, further extension will be granted for this project.
Right. It would be for a shorter term or a medium term, like 3 to 5 years. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll wait for that. Fine. So, another question on this this module purchase for our 2 solar projects. So, will these be impacted by the ALMM as well? Because we can now only purchase from this approved list. So, is that hindering us in any aspect in terms of obtaining the best price modules?
So, Apurva, as if you can see right now, module prices across the globe, they are elevated as of now because of certain factors. But particularly this list is not hindering us. The major pain point is the elevated prices.
Okay, so if it comes down, then probably. So basically, are the suppliers with whom we would like to work, do you see them on this list?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. If I may just squeeze in one more question, is that's on the gas price and how large of a quantity do we have tied up right now?
For current year FY22, we are largely protected. About 70% of the requirement is tied up. Some quantity still we have to tie up, but we are largely protected. And the current increase in the spot price, our view is that it's not sustainable. So we have time to contract for the next year and thereafter. So we'll work on contracting for the next year and thereafter. This current price is not sustainable. That is our view is.
Okay, so we'll basically wait for the prices to normalize and then we'll go for further tie-up.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Sitaraman from Spark Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello. Thank you, sir. Sir, can you give the merchant units sold in number of units this quarter and in 1Q21, and also the average cost and average realization for this merchant sales?
The merchant volume last year was 921 MUs. And 921 MUs last quarter, last year similar quarter. And the current year is about 139 MUs.
Okay, correct. Okay. And the average cost and average realization for merchant sales?
We can give the contribution. About average contribution was last about 38 paisa, and current year is about 2 paisa.
Okay, thank you. And sir, on the segment-wise EBITDA front, it will be helpful if you give, because for comparable purpose you have been giving earlier. So for comparable purpose and bookkeeping purpose, it will be helpful. So if possible, can you share that, sir?
Yeah, we can give the EBITDA breakup of Q1 of current year FY22 versus Q1 of FY21. As gas-based project EBITDA was current quarter 129 crores versus 204 crores. Renewables is 175 crores versus 185 crores. The license distribution business, Ahmedabad, Surat, Gandhinagar and Dahej is 322 crores versus 292 crores. And our franchise distribution, which has turnaround and which has reported quite good numbers for the current quarter, is 168 crores versus 39 crores. And overall EBITDA before one-off is 776 versus 707 crores. And on reported basis, 764 versus 1004.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Aniket Mittal from Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity, sir. My first question is just on this distribution part, especially on DS. Just to understand what's the overall demand looking like and the collections looking like for the circle. And from an FY22 perspective, how do you see the full year demand and AT&C losses over there?
we have said that the demand for the current quarter, because of the second wave, was down by 13%, with a comparable quarter of FY 19-20. For the quarter, it has improved by about 38% as compared with the last similar quarter of last year. So, still in Q1, we are not reaching to the pre-COVID level demand. We expect that the year as a whole, there will be greater recovery during the next 3 quarters, and most likely we will be reporting the numbers on a pre-COVID level as far as demand is concerned.
So Aniket, just to add what Saurabh said is, if you look at on a month-on-month basis, May was a particularly bad month in this quarter because of lockdowns related to second wave. If you look at June and July, numbers are improving, and that's why our expectation is that by end of this year we would have recouped the degrowth, or we would have arrested the degrowth compared to FY 19-20 in terms of volumes are concerned.
Okay, sure. And in terms of the AT&C loss trajectory, would that be again similar to pre-COVID levels by the end of this year?
I think we expect something better than the pre-COVID level.
Okay.
AT&C losses, if you see this quarter also, they are on line, and so that's why I think going forward there should be some improvement in AT&C losses.
Sure. Okay. And just on the provision part, if I look at over the past 1 year, I think now we've done around 130 crores of excess provisioning, including the 21 crores for this quarter. Just in terms of collection of those excess provision, how do we see that panning out? I mean, has the situation, let's say in Bhiwandi, Agra, improved, or so that we can get this 130 crore recouped in this year itself?
We expect that about out of 130 or 50% provision is pertaining to SMK area. So we expect the Bhiwandi, Agra, we expect that we expect to recover it in next 3 quarters. SMK, we are working the new area, so we are working on the SMK. So SMK, there will be some time will require to recover this amount. But at least Bhiwandi and Agra, we are hoping that the next 3 quarters we are able to recover the almost material amount, I would say.
No, sure, that is okay. Just one question actually to just dive into this TF business increase that we've seen. So you mentioned that the EBITDA has come at around 168 crores versus 39 crores for the last year, right? Now this increase in EBITDA, would it be possible to break this up as in how much of this would be because of demand increase and how much of this is because of lower T&D losses?
You are talking of Bhiwandi and Agra, na?
Yeah, at an overall level. So at an overall level, your DF EBITDA has come in at 168 versus 39 crores last year. So that's roughly a jump of around 120 crores. Can this be broken up into how much this is because of lower T&D loss and how much is because of higher demand?
Lower T&D loss is about 133 crores improvement with comparable quarter of last year.
Okay, so the large improvement is only because of lower T&D loss.
Yes, exactly.
But the demand has also increased 38% YoY, right?
Demand is also increased, so volume. At the same time, there are tariff was lower also in case of Bhiwandi and Agra. So lower tariff also has impacted the contributions. So main is coming out of the T&D losses.
Oh, okay. And just maybe one question before I join back in the queue. See, on the SECI 5 project and the SECI 3 project, we have made certain provisions as well. Now that we are taking the SECI 5 project, or possibly looking at taking the SECI 5 project back on, does that provision get reversed? And if you could just repeat in terms of the timeline also, when do we, what's the extension that we've got for SECI 5?
So SECI 5, we have got an extension till February 22. As far as provision write back, I think once we enter into commercial agreements, we will decide at that point in time to write back the provisions.
Okay, sure. That's helpful. Thank you. I'll join back in the queue for further questions.
Thank you. Before we take the next question, we would like to remind our participants that you may press star and 1 to ask a question. Next question is from the line of Noel from Ashika Group. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yes, actually, just one thing I just want to clarify regarding the gas linkage for the current financial year. So, I think, sir, you had mentioned that 70% of the requirement has already been tied up, right?
Yeah.
And so this would be at about what rate? $4? So,
Cargo, each cargo we have booked, it is about $4.36 MMBTU.
okay. And regarding so the thing is, so future bookings have not been made because the current rates are on the higher side, and we view this as unsustainable, so we expect them to lower down, right?
Yeah.
So
Our view is that this price is not sustainable, and we expect the prices will come down.
okay.
So now
And,
we are working on other options to take care of the scenario which has emerged because of higher gas prices. But we have still some time available with us to work on this. So we'll update everybody once we have finalized the strategy on which we want to book gas for the future years.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, that is the only thing I just want to clarify. My other questions are done. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Dhruv from HDFC Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sir. Thank you so much. This SECI 5 project, you say the extension is till Feb 22, which is what, almost 6-7 months from now. So, do you think the project can be completed in this short time?
So, Dhruv, just to give you an example, we had a couple of projects in our Karnataka, Jodhpur and Latur. We did it that in 4 months, 3 to 4 months time. So I think 6 months is sufficient time, and we are already working on various aspects of that. So I think we are confident that we'll be able to do that in 6 to 8 months time.
Okay. So you have already tied up the machinery and everything.
We are close to that.
Okay, got it. And so the tariff remains the same. The tariff was, I think, 2.76. That remains the same.
That remains same. Yeah. Everything else remains same.
Okay, got it. Because the thing is, so when you had bid this project, the expectation was that the equipment cost will be declining. But now I believe, given how prices have moved, even the BOS prices, the cost escalation would be quite significant now.
So,
versus, say, for example, with what you had considered earlier.
There are other factors which have played in favor of us in terms of, let's say, interest cost. At that point in time, interest cost was higher. Now, if you see, interest costs have gone down significantly. There are certain land also we are working on the strategy of how to do that land. So I think all in all, we can expect that we would be getting low-teen IRRs out of this project, and we can salvage this project.
Got it. And so what would be the approximate capital cost here?
800 crores.
So second question was on the capex for the regulated business this year. What's the target for this year? Regulated distribution.
So I think, Dhruv, the expectation remains the same, 1,500 crores for the entire year, DL and DF put together. I think distribution license should be 1,200 crores. But there should be some improvement in 1,200 crores because of lower capex which we did in last year. There could be some spillover there.
Okay. So upwards of 1,200 crores.
Yeah.
For distribution. Distribution license. And the last small thing was on the O&M. So there is a 13 crores increase in O&M. So is it a base reset which has happened, or this is just something which has come in this quarter? I mean, are the service contracts resetted so that this flows for the full year?
It is because of the increased level of activities.
Okay, so there's no base reset. I mean, this is just for this quarter.
Yes. Increased level of activity has increased the expenses, O&M expenses.
Got it, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Anuj Upadhyay from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, sir. Majority of the questions have been answered. Two from my end. One is related to your SMK losses. It still hovers around 43%. So any roadmaps or what we target over next 1 or 2 years, and what kind of capex is what we plan to incur only specifically for the SMK area to bring it down?
The SMK is a new area which we took it over from 1st of March 2021.
Right.
At the beginning of the tariff, at the time of COVID set in, we have acquired this area. So last 1 year we are not able to do much work in the SMK area, but going forward, in fact, we have started changing the network in SMK area. So in next 5 years, I would say we will reach to a very different level of AT&C losses in SMK area.
Anuj, just to add what Saurabh said is that it was unfortunate for us to get a handover of a new area at the time of COVID, wherein everything was locked down. Because of which I think we have wasted 1 year to implement the necessary things which we wanted to do in that area. So effectively last year we have been able to do a very minuscule amount of what we would have done. And that's why you are seeing higher pains coming out of that region. But going forward, I think it should follow what we have done in Bhiwandi and Agra. That's the expectation.
We can give them an example. For example, Q1 of FY21, AT&C T&D losses were about 53%. And currently in this Q1 is about 43%. So we have achieved about 10% reduction in the T&D losses in SMK area. So this kind of a reduction we have achieved in last 1 year without investing so much in the capex and network building. So next 4-5 years when we will work on the network building, and this T&D losses will substantially, we expect that will come down.
Right, sir. Any number which can quantify, sir, on the losses for the SMK for the quarter?
No, we won't be able to give the segment unit-wise numbers.
Fine, sir. Next question is on the distribution opportunities. We are saying already the Daman and Diu thing is now at the Supreme Court level, but any other states where we are seeing a distribution licensee or a franchisee opportunity?
We are hoping the new union territory will be offered by the government. So bidding is going to come for the other demanding union territory. And other state government also like UP are also contemplating to go for the privatization. So we are hoping that the new area will come up for the bidding.
Okay. Thanks, sir. That's it from my end.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Aniket Mittal from Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity once again. So just one understanding on this 25 megawatt reduction in ADPP, I think with Madhya Pradesh that's happened. I just wanted to get some color on the terms of PPA. You also mentioned that this could, there's a further back down of another 25 megawatt that can happen. So if you could provide some color as to what's led to this and a view going forward over here.
So as per the contract, 75 megawatt was the PPA. They have a right to reduce by 25 megawatt. That is what it has happened in the current year. And the next after 5 years, they have again they can able to reduce by 25 megawatt.
Okay, after another 5 years, they can reduce. And what would be the useful remaining life of this PPA?
The 25 years PPA.
Okay, all right. And so just one question actually on the on the gas tie-up. You mentioned that around 70% of your FY22 volumes has been tied up. Just to understand, what would be the inherent PLF assumption that you're making for Sugen and Uno Sugen when you say that 70% has been tied up?
About 65% kind of a PLF assumptions.
For both Sugen and Uno Sugen?
Yes.
Okay. And maybe one last question on SMK. What is
let me clarify, 65% of our beneficiaries of Ahmedabad distribution and Surat distribution.
That will be 65% PLF of the entire plant.
Yeah.
for of the tied up capacity is what you're saying?
No, of the entire plant.
Of the entire plant. Okay, of the entire plant for sodium usage. Okay, got it. And just on SMK, to just understand the impact that's coming on the DF, what is the profitability impact for every 1% T&D reduction over there?
So I think Anuj, right now it is difficult to quantify, but on a ballpark number, 5 to 6 crores should be the improvement. But it's too early to comment as of now.
All right, 5 to 6 crores. Okay, fine. Thank you.
Zed,
Thank you.
I had a couple of questions to ask. Can I go ahead?
Sure, sir. Before you proceed, participants, if you have any more questions, please enter star and 1 at this time. Harsh, yes, you may please go ahead with your questions.
Sure. Saurabh bhai,
Yeah.
with the expected changes in the Electricity Act, a lot of growth avenues will open up. And that clubbed with, the 3 lakh crore capex, scheme which is being announced by the central government, quite likely that, the areas such as smart metering and offering ancillary services or even managing the smart meters for a lot of these distribution companies open up for private players.
Yes.
Would you think that this is a growth area for us? And if yes, how are we gearing for that? Have we identified the state areas where we would like to go and, implement these smart metering projects? That's part one. And part number 2 is, basically in terms of offering the ancillary services such as EV charging, etc. At least in the license area, if you can just update what progress have we made and what revenue model should we adopt here. Thank you.
So as far as the delicensing thing, we look at the very great possibility for players like us. We have a very good hold on distribution. So it's a very good opportunity for us because we can expand in our existing area of Ahmedabad, Surat, and existing areas also. Plus, we can go to the new areas also. And since we are efficient, so there are lots of inefficiencies in distribution sector currently. So we can tap these areas and we can expand in other areas also. So as far as Torrent Power is concerned, we see as a great opportunity for us to go beyond our territory.
Okay. And any comments on the smart metering initiative, whether we would like to be vendors for some of these discoms or that area we'll just let it go?
Yeah, we have not worked on it as of now, but as and when proper opportunity comes, we will work on it.
Okay. And any update on the EV charging infrastructure, etc. At least in the license area? Any thoughts on that?
No, right now we have not worked on it.
Okay, great. Zaid, I think there are a few questions in the queue. Why don't you take them?
Sure, sir. Thank you. Next question is a follow-up from the line of Mohit Kumar from DAM Capital. Please go ahead.
So thank you for the opportunity once again. So my question is related to gas prices. Since gas prices are elevated, so when do you expect, because we also need to tie up our gas contract for the next year. How do you see it? And second, the related question is that does the higher gas prices affect our ability to recover fixed charges, especially in UNOSUGEN, given that I think there was some capping?
So our first view is that this higher gas price is not sustainable. And as we informed, as a current year, almost we are protected because about 70% of the requirement we have covered. Some 30% is still to be covered, but which is okay. On average basis, we are well protected for the current year. And we have time to contract it for the next year and thereafter. So, and we feel that the gas price will soften and we have opportunity to cover up the gas for the remaining for the future years. And RIL also is coming up with the bidding, and domestic gas is also being getting available. So in Unuskudan, almost 20% gas is we are using the domestic gas. So as far as Unuskudan is concerned, since domestic gas is available at a reasonable rate, we expect that we will be remain competitive in terms of capping.
So what is the kind of opportunity for gas being made available through the other gas fields in the near future? Do you have any number, especially in FY22?
No, I think we don't have those numbers as of now.
Okay. Understood. Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is a follow-up from the line of Aniket Mittal from Motilal Oswal Financial Services. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity once again. So my question actually was on this Lighthouse acquisition, and we just wanted to understand your thought process over there. I mean, is there now some sort of an internal target that we are building on renewables, or, is the existing bids from SECI that's coming in extremely competitive? That's why we're looking at this route. So just some color maybe on what made you look at this acquisition, and, our plans for the growth on the renewables portfolio would be helpful.
So Aniket, I think we don't give any guidance per se on the growth in renewables is concerned, but we keep on looking at opportunities which fits into our scheme of things. As far as this particular acquisition is concerned, if you see, I think it provides a good equity IRRs in terms of the capacity and the tariff which we have got. So going forward, we'll keep on looking at opportunities available, and we'll also keep on looking at new biddings which come up. But as far as guidance is concerned, we would not be giving any guidance per se on the additions in renewable space is concerned.
So the growth will come from the inorganic as well as organic also in renewables.
Sure, that's helpful. And just on the Lighthouse fund, I think you did mention that the O&M expenses are fairly high, because if I look at the FY20 financials, the EBITDA margins are only 83%. So just wanted to understand what's the scope really in terms of improving the O&M, and what sort of margins can we, bump this up to?
So I think we will not be able to comment on it as of now. So post consummation, we will give you a better picture on what we are looking at on this O&M expenses.
Okay, thanks. And just maybe one last question on Dholera. I understand there's a very long-term plan in place over there of around 1,200 crores over the years, but how is that circle sort of planning out right now? And from a next 2 to 3 year perspective, what is the capex that you're looking at over there?
Dholera, people have started making inquiries. We have been told that the Tata has acquired the land for the battery project. Plus, Renew is also planning to set up their facilities. So we expect the demand will come in Dholera, and many units will comes up in the Dholera area.
Okay. And in terms of capex, because I think over 10 years you've got a 1,200 crore plan over there, but how could this possibly phase out?
So I think it will depend on the kind of industries which are coming up. So we would like to invest once we see clarity or visibility of the demand which is coming up. So I think it's a game of how demand will be there, and then we'll start doing capex. So that 1,200 crores or 1,000 crore over a period of 10 to 12 years is difficult to put a number to as of now. But as and when we see visibility in demand, we'll start putting up required infrastructure in place.
As of the basic network we have built in, so we expect the demand to come, and then we make further investment in Dholera.
As of now, there's no investment or capex in Dholera, that's what I say.
We are incurring capex, but to set up the basic network.
That's a small capex which we are doing to set up a basic network which will provide construction power to whatever industries which are coming up.
So, and maybe just on the capex one, could you tell me what was the overall capex for this quarter?
Quarter we spent about 250 crores.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I think, Zed, we've completely run out of time. So I'd like to request Saurabh to make closing comments, if at all any, and then if you can pass on the line to me.
Yeah, thank you very much for the joining the call, and we wish everybody stay safe and healthy. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us the opportunity to present our company, Torrent Power. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for logging on to the call, and I'd like to thank Torrent Power for giving us an opportunity to host this call. In case some of your questions still remain unanswered, you can drop a line to me or Rishi Bhai or to the IR team, and we'll get that answered. Thank you very much, and have a lovely weekend.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, members of management. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of IIFL Securities, that concludes today's conference call. Thank you all for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.
Thank you.